Hello, I'm Ernestine Collins. Welcome to Writer's Reading. This program is brought to you as a public service presentation of WPRG TV5, Harold, Kentucky. Today on our show, as our special guest, we have John Butch Preston. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about what you write?
Well, I write plays and short stories, poetry, just, anything comes to mind. And I've been writing for several years.
Have you had anything published?
Oh, yeah. Small magazines and stuff like that. I had a play on the radio once. And I've read some work at UK.
Well, good. What have you got to share with us today?
Well, a short story I wrote a few years ago that I thought you might enjoy.
Okay, go ahead and read it.
All right. It's called I Left My Heart in Acapulco. All right. Everything had been perfect until I woke up a few minutes ago and realized what I had done. Since then, I've been lying here in agony. Yet a couple times, I just wanted to burst out laughing, though I really can't sustain the feeling that this is funny. It is not. The awful thing is wanting to touch her, wanting to roll over against her and cup her breast in my hand. Instead, I must lie here in humble disquietude, afraid to move even my little finger, terrified that she will awaken before I can figure out what to do or say. It all began yesterday morning at breakfast on the terrace of the Hotel Americana overlooking Acapulco Bay. She, as tender and lovely as the morning, was sitting there gazing at the sea, but occasionally catching my eyes, she would look around impatiently for the waiter. I was sitting there over my second cup of coffee negra, trying to figure out how to approach her. She was too far away to offer a casual comment. I would have to stroll over on some pretext. Luckily, an official-looking helicopter came buzzing in low along the surf. I got up and went over to the railing for a better look. "Shark Patrol," I announced, turning back facing her table. "Pardon me?" "I've been told they're looking for sharks in the surf," I said, nodding toward the copter as it banked along the curve of the beach out of hearing. "Is it not safe?" she asked, looking disappointed. "Just routine, I think. Nothing to worry about. Haven't seen you around. Did you just get in?" "I came in last night." Her smile was ingenuous. "Well, welcome. Thank you." "Mind if I join you?" I asked hesitantly, politely gripping the back of the chair. "Sure, have a seat." She smiled again. It was broad and even, tinged with irony. But I was really hoping for the waiter. I chuckled and could only rely on the over-reliable. You really know how to hurt a guy. She was from California, but inland near the desert. I was from Cincinnati, but had spent some time in San Diego during the war, Vietnam. From this basis, we were often running. As I sat there chatting and listening to her sexy little husky voice, my eyes made that slow, circuitous journey from her swept-back golden hair down through the features of her face and neck to her upturned breast, which were just large enough so you noticed right away, but not one of her main attractions. For when nature made that face, it was in the plane that no other part of her anatomy could compete with it. But her face was not for just looking upon enraptured. It looked back, and that made the difference. You soon became aware that her eyes were not only blue and beautiful, but they were also perceptive, heavy-lidded guardians of a very sensitive soul. Yes, she was young, but after sitting there over my third cup of coffee negra, I knew I wanted her more than I'd ever wanted anything in my life. "Maybe I'll see you later at the beach," I said when we finally parted. "Maybe," she replied. A couple of hours later, I found her sitting on a beach towel not far from the water's edge. She seemed genuinely glad to see me. "Hi, seen any sharks?" I asked jokingly. "No, just a few crabs. I was waiting for you to go out and test the water." "All right, if that's an invitation to join you." She nodded, and I spread my towel down next to hers. stealing a glance at her fine thighs. Then I stood looking seaward, removing my shirt. "Where'd you get that?" she asked rather flippantly, indicating my tattoo. "Marines," I said, shrugging. "Kinda cute." "Yeah, I thought so at the time," I said, twisting my bicep around so that I could see it myself. A cuddly little red devil holding a pitchfork, faded a little, but the caption was clear. "Born to raise hell." "I hope it doesn't intimidate you," I continued, a little too apologetically. "No, it was just a surprise, that's all. You don't seem the type." "It was a long time ago. I was just 17. You regret it now?" "Sometimes when people make too much of it, like now, for instance." "I'm sorry. I guess I was trying to put you down." "When you try to put somebody down you've just met, it means you like them," I said, grinning. I reached for her hand. "Come on." We ran splashing into the surf and dove under, coming up almost in each other's arms. I wanted to kiss her, and she knew, but she turned and dove under again. It was glorious, the sun, the surf, watching her laugh. She 19, I 33, glad I had kept the spirit of the Corps, hadn't let myself sag. Later on in the afternoon, I rented a Jeep from the hotel and we drove up the coast. I wanted to show her the sunset from Piedra La Coloma, a small peninsula of tropical jungle and native huts. When we arrived, the sun was a glowing red ball hanging low in the western sky, not yet touching the horizon, but moving imperceptibly toward it. Back up from the beach were little huts with tin roofs and walls woven from sticks. Some of the inhabitants catered to the tourists by renting hammocks and chairs in the cabanas along the shore, but we decided to sit on the sand, refusing their pleas. However, to appease them, I did order a couple of beers and a bowl of roasted shrimp from a small boy who went skipping back into the grove, pleased with his success. The others then left us alone. The sun had now touched the edge of the sea, and a bright golden glow spread all along the horizon. You could see it move now as if melting away, a half, a third, and then just a brilliant silver that quickly disappeared before your eyes, throwing back warm waves of rose, pink, and purple streaked with gold. A breathless moment. I looked straight up and gave a short round of applause. "Very good, God." She laughed, looking warmly into my eyes. "Very good yourself." "Tell me," I suddenly asked, why you came down here alone? Any particular reason?" "Why shouldn't I?" "Well, I don't know. It just seems like you should be with a couple of friends or something." "Oh, all my girlfriends are so cynical." "I am too when I'm with them. I just wanted to enjoy myself in my own true way, I guess. Try and be total myself for once, if you know what I mean." "Yes, that's my philosophy, precisely. So I guess I'm seeing the real you now, right?" "Obviously, sometimes," she said, grinning slyly. "Sometimes, obviously not." I smiled. It was a good answer. I leaned forward under the influence of the intimate, darkening air and kissed her, a slow, exploratory kiss, broken when the boy suddenly appeared with our order. He set before us a tray with 2 warm beers and a small bowl of roasted shrimp, head, tails, whiskers, and all. She gave me a doubtful look as I paid him. "What's the matter?" I asked. "I don't think I can eat them that way." "But they're good," I cried. I peeled one and handed it to her, but she only nibbled at it. So I ate most of them, dipping them in the watery sauce as we sat listening to the riptide and watching the sky change to a solid golden orange and grow dark. Soon, unsavory-looking characters began lurking about the beach, and I decided we had better leave before it got pitch dark. As we stood up to leave, I held her and kissed her again as a zillion stars came out and seemed to twinkle applause. I drove leisurely back down the winding road to town, the night air full of sweet tropical scents. Before reaching the hotel, we made a date to meet in the lounge for dinner. Back in my room, I intended to take a short nap, but my head was so full of her that it refused to lose consciousness. So I showered and dressed, taking my time, and went down to the lounge to wait for her. I took a table near the window and ordered a drink. But somehow the vodka didn't set right on my stomach, so I switched over to beer. By the time I had finished my second bottle, I saw her come through the door wearing a smashing black outfit cut low in the back. There was an almost mechanical turning of heads as she crossed the room to join me. $1 million moment. I snapped my fingers for the waiter and ordered champagne. "You're beautiful," I said. "I'm glad you think so. It's not only I, it's a fact anybody can see, even you." "Well, it's not always as wonderful as people think," she replied, looking down her glass reflectively. We left most of the champagne and went out and strolled down the boulevard until we came to the fashionable restaurant district. El Capitan's was extremely crowded, but a large tip soon got us a table and the waiter came at once. We had the lobster and a very good Mexican chablis, though it didn't deserve the superfluous performance of the waiter in serving it. After the meal, we had espresso. "Why don't you want to talk about Vietnam?" she asked. "Something awful happened?" "The awful thing that happened," I confessed, "was I didn't make it over there. But I thought, yes, that's the problem. People think because I was in during the war, I was over there. It's embarrassing to have to say San Diego instead of Saigon. But there's a deeper feeling of being left out, a sense of letting the others down. By the time I had finished my training, it was all over. I guess I shouldn't worry about it now, but after all these years, it still bothers me." "Well, you shouldn't let it. There's a great possibility that you wouldn't be sitting here right now if you had gone. Maybe you should think about that more." "I suppose you're right. I know one thing. I'm glad I'm sitting here right now." We left the restaurant in search of dancing and found the club just around the corner. It was loud, flashy, and crowded, the kind of vibrant crowd in which you are always moving sideways and shouting at one another. But after a few rum and cokes, we became part of the whole, a massive, sweating body jumping to the beat. And as the night wore on, and more drinks, total release, she falling against me, I against others, they pushing me back, laughing, crazy confusion, like organisms seen under a microscope. And finally just wanting to get out, to breathe fresh air, find a tree, something real again. We pushed our way back out onto the boulevard. "Ah," I said as I sucked the cool night air into my lungs and felt the noise from inside leave my brain. "I know," she said, sighing. I found a palm tree and threw my arms around it with a feeling of relief. She followed and put her arms around my middle, leaning a little. I could feel her weight pulling on my uneasy stomach. "Think we're headed in the right direction?" I asked thickly, only to be saying something. "Don't know. Just want to stay here under this tree, holding on to you." "Yes, I'm a pillar of strength, dear, the old pillar of strength, but we better get a cab. When in doubt, always get a cab. That's what I always say." "That what you always say?" she murmured into the middle of my back. "It's a long walk back," I said, drawing out my voice with poor attempt. "Oh, let's walk," she urged, tugging a little on my stomach. "Easy, easy," I groaned. "Come on, it's not that far. I want to walk drunkenly through the streets of Acapulco. I want to." "Oh, you're not old enough to know what you want," I said, intending to tease. But it just didn't come out that way, even to my ears. I felt her release me. I turned and watched dumbly as she backed away, her eyes searching my face with hurt indignation. That was a stupid thing to say. "I was just joking," I said, feeling suddenly sober. "Honest, it wasn't funny." "I know, I'm sorry." She shook her head negatively, turned and walked slowly away. "Wait a minute," I cried, "listen." It just slipped out of my drunken head. It was me being defensive about my age, I guess. She halted a moment and looked back. I could see a slight glistening in her eyes. "You know what I need?" I said desperately. "I need another tattoo. A big skull and crossbones across my chest with poison written beneath it." But she just dropped her head and turned away. I turned too and foolishly kicked at the tree. Then I just held on to it with one arm, standing there silently cursing myself. And besides all that, I felt nauseous. But after a moment, I heard her approach. "I like the one you already have," she said calmly. I looked around. "My tattoo?" "Yes, it makes you look rugged." She held out her hand and I took it. We walked back to the hotel, holding each other close. In the semi-darkness of her room, we began to undress, she alternately standing and sitting, removing her things, I standing all the while, letting her get a little ahead. She got in under the sheet. I got in beside her, and we were in each other's arms immediately. "Stay with me afterwards," she whispered. And I did, only now wishing I hadn't. She will awaken any minute now, and the happiness of the past day and night will all be over. I've rehearsed a dozen things to say, but in the end, what can I say? This ignoble situation speaks for itself. In desperation, I've even thought of grabbing up all my clothes and running out the door, covering myself as best I can until I can get to my room, then catch the next plane out. It could be as simple and foolish as that if I wasn't already in love with her. God, I've never wanted to impress anyone so much in my life, but here I lie. I hear the helicopter buzzing along the surf. Shark patrol? Would I trade places? Be out in the surf trying to catch a wave in as the big fin comes closer? Or be here where the sharks have already struck? I don't know. This time Montezuma has gotten his revenge big time. At some point during the night I had an awful accident, and she's beginning to open her eyes, her beautiful blue eyes. The end.
Very, very creative.
All right.
That's good. Thank you, Butch.
All right, you're welcome.
John Butch Preston, for joining us today, and we hope sometime you'll want to come back and be with us.
Oh, yeah,
again.
I enjoyed it very much.
Okay. Before we go off the air, I'd like to read a poem that I've written called Sweet Sycamore. Day is dying in the mountains. Night is swiftly falling. Softly now the shadows creep slowly down the vale. Long ago, when day was young, we played among the sycamores, sang our sweetest songs up there, where sorrow seemed but a dream. Sing to me, sweet sycamore, lest I forget the song. Silent now the sound has been so long. Far away we wandered, ere the day was hardly spent, turning our hearts toward the beckoning western sky. Flatland shows no mercy when the midday sun grows hot, when sorrow upon sorrow sears the wayward soul. Sing to me, sweet sycamore, lest I forget the song. Silent now the sound has been so long. Day is dying in the mountains as we spy the foothills of home. Serene and silent stand the sycamores now. I think I see two children running playfully among the trees, and hear the sweet song we sang together in the morning mist. Sing to me, sweet sycamore, lest I forget the song. Silent now the sound has been so long. Thank you for joining us today. We want to thank John Butch Preston for being with us. I want to thank Eugene Cisco for taping the show for us, and also Dr. Don and WPRG TV5 for allowing us to come to you. Until next week, may God bless you.